Today on Commander Replay, the Boros Brigade look to bash in some skulls. Can Akiri, Slinger, and Bruse Tarl beat Yidris, Noyan, and Edric to the punch? Find out next on Commander Replay.
So we are back. We are playing some Akiri, Slinger, and Bruse Tarl. We won the die roll. And we are facing some strong commanders this game. Keep our hand. So, you guys have seen me play Aurelia a ton, and I love Aurelia, but the problem is that at 6 mana, she can be difficult to cast, so you sort of lose that aggressive feel of what Boros really wants to be a lot of the time. So the purpose of this deck is to try to be heavily aggressive Boros, and we have a bunch of tools to lock out the game with Armageddon and things like that. So, our turn 1, we'll play a Mistveil Plains, and pass the turn. So let's take a look at Akiri Lineslinger. Akiri is a red and a white for a 0/3 first strike vigilance, and it gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control and has partner. And its partner is Bruse Tarl Boorish Herder, is a 4-mana 3/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, target creature you control gains double strike and lifelink until end of turn. So the plan for this deck is simply to suit up a whole bunch of equipment onto Akiri Lineslinger, throw double strike on it with Bruse Tarl, and commander damage people out of the game very quickly. So yeah, I played a ton of Aurelia. Aurelia is great, but sometimes it just takes so long to get her into play that everyone is well ahead of what you're doing, and you can't be nearly as aggressive as you want to be sometimes. So I want this deck to be pure aggression. I wouldn't mind if I could get this deck to a place where it wants to hang with some of the more competitive commander decks. So our turn 2. Unfortunately, we don't have the red mana that we need for Akiri Lineslinger. That's kind of annoying. But what we can do is I'm going to go Mana Vault, and Mana Vault in our Thran Dynamo, and Thran Dynamo in the Luxodon Warhammer. So let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. We have Noyan Dar Royal Shaper, is a 5-mana 4/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put 3 +1/+1 counters on a land. That land becomes a creature with haste. I've seen Noyan a little bit, but I've never really seen the deck able to get going, so I'm not actually quite sure what the plan is. Next up, we have Yidris Maelstrom Wielder. One of the Commander 2016 commanders, 4 colors, everything except white, is a 5/4 with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, spells you cast this turn gain Cascade. So Yidris is typically a Storm Out, Spell Shaper combo kind of deck. And then finally we have Edric Spymaster of Trest. It's a 3-mana 2/2. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. Usually a very aggressive blue-green deck where most of the creatures in this deck will probably be cost between 1 and 2, and then they'll use a bunch of counter magic to try to back themselves up. A very powerful commander. Yidris can also be pretty powerful too, in the sense of if you don't interact with Yidris, sometimes it just wins the game very quickly, so that's something you have to watch out for. Back to our turn, we will leave the Mana Crypt tapped. We draw a Sol Ring, so all of the colorless mana. Right here, we'll slam the land tax, play our Sol Ring, play our Bastion Protector, and put the Warhammer on our Bastion Protector. If things go well, we can use the that Edric Spymaster ability to draw some cards, so that'll be nice. So, Sakura Tribe Elder for our opponent. He's going to sack and go find a land. Fortunately, the Baleful Strix is really annoying. That'll keep us from being able to swing into the Yidris opponent. Yidris and Edric are definitely going to be the higher priority targets, I think. Azorius Chancery for our opponent. Opponent disenchants our Luxodon Warhammer. That's super annoying. But probably correct, because we were probably going to hit them. If opponent plays Edric right there, we are definitely going to hit the Noyan opponent. So Edric coming into play. Silky Hedgemage swinging in at the Noyan opponent. Going to get an Edric trigger. Going to draw a card. Oh, nice. We get a land tax trigger. That's going to help out our mana situation immensely. We're not going to pay for the Mana Vault. Use the land tax ability. So watch this. Whenever you draw 3 cards with land taxed, your draw per turn is almost always a land. And there it is. We drew a land. Super annoying. That has to be a bug of some kind, because every first time that I get a land tax trigger and I draw 3 lands with it, always draw a land for the turn. Anyway, we're going to drop down a mountain, cast our Bruse Tarl, put double strike on our Bastion Protector, and we're going to attack the Noyan opponent because they don't have any blockers, and I want to draw some cards. Ugh. And opponent bounces our Bastion Protector. It's annoying. So we're not going to get the card draw that we were hoping for. But we have the mana to replay our Bastion Protector, so we'll go ahead and do that. And it's back into play. Oh, so opponent plays a Decimate. Gonna target our Bruse Tarl, our land tax, our Thran Dynamo, and our Slayer Stronghold. Decimate does a little too much for its mana cost. You get to destroy 4 targets for 4 mana? Seems busted. Fortunately, they targeted the Bruse Tarl with the Bastion Protector in play, so Bruse Tarl had Indestructible, so that gets to hang around. But after that, I am setting my sights on the Idris opponent. So Edric swinging in at the Noyan opponent, gonna get to draw some cards. At least we got that 1 land tax trigger to get ourselves a decent amount of lands. Miro Regery for the Edric opponent. And back to our turn. No untaps. That's an Aurelia. So the appropriate thing to do is to play this mountain, cast Aurelia, and make Idris pay for the for hitting us with that Decimate and hitting all 4 of our cards. And somehow it just skipped our combat step.
Tilt mode engaged.
Because of the F8, I fudged up, and it was already on our declare attacker step, and I accidentally passed through it. Because we were going to blast the Idris opponent super hard and draw a bunch of cards off of it, and now we're not going to get to do that. Noyan Dar, Royal Shaper coming into play. Finally, the Edric starts to pay attention to the Idris opponent. Ignoring Idris is a really bad idea. Edric gets to draw 2 cards. Rootwater Thief for our opponent. Has the ability to give itself flying. Deals combat damage to a player, may pay 2. If you do, search that player for library for a card, exile. That player shuffles his or her library. Seems pretty good. Kopala, Warden of Waves coming into play. Spells your opponent's cast that target a merfolk you control cost 2 more. Abilities your opponents activate that target a merfolk you control also cost 2 more. Not bad. Not bad if you're playing a merfolk deck. Back to our turn. I'm actually going to untap the Mana Vault right here because I don't know that there's anything of consequence that we'll be able to do. Swiftfoot Boots, not terribly interesting. Actually, let's get our Akiri Line Slinger, play the Boots, equip the Line Slinger, play our Temple of Triumph. We have a Wear Tear. Do we need a Wear Tear? I mean, Sylvan Library is a thing, but opponents are already drawing a million cards anyway. We'll put it on the bottom. Sending everything into the Idris opponent. Put Double Strike on our Bastion Protector. Ha! And Idris scoops. And we still get the combat damage. Nice. So we'll get to draw 2 cards.
Tilt mode disengaged.
We'll get to draw 2 more cards. Fortunately, we're drawing mostly lands. And there's a Wrath of God. That'll actually be very, very helpful against the Edric opponent. Problem is, I just don't see a way that we get through all of their counter spells. So, not too bad. We got to aggro out 1 opponent by turn 6. Didn't kill them with damage. Oh boy. Return all non-land permanents with their converted mana cost 4 or less to each player's hand. That's going to slow down the Edric quite a bit. And Noyan opponent decides to swing in with them with 1 of their lands and their Noyan. Not bad. So the Selkie Hedge Mage comes back into play and bounces the animated creature land for the Noyan. So this is a good thing. This is exactly what we need. We want these 2 to duke it out. I'm probably going to try to slow roll our next turn. So back to our turn, we draw a Myriad Landscape. Play our Sol Ring, play the Boots, play this, let's see, cast Line Slinger, equip Line Slinger, play this Mana Vault, play this Darksteel Citadel, and we'll swing into the Edric opponent. So they take 4, go down to 30. We're going to discard the hand size. Yeah, I don't think we need the grassland. We have a bunch of lands that were already kind of slow anyway. The reason I went with that particular line is because I'm trying to set up this Wrath of God. Even though I could use the Bastion Protector to protect both of our commanders, I kind of want to keep the Bastion Protector around past that Wrath of God. So that's the idea there. Sphinx Bone Wand coming into play. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may put a charge counter on the Bone Wand. If you do, deals damage equal to the number of charge counters on the target creature or player. That's pretty good. Rhystic Study for our opponent. Miro Regery coming into play. Kiora's Follower coming into play. Sylvan Library back into play. And back to our turn. Ooh, we draw a Sword of Feast and Famine. Nice. Unfortunately, they have 1 blue creature up, so we can't guarantee a hit with the sword, but we can use our boots and everything else to try to make this happen. 10, 11. We have 11 mana. Take 5 to do that. 9 to do that. So, play our land. Play Wrath of God. We're not going to pay for the Rhystic Study. Wipe the board. Oh, damn it. I think we're still 1 short. It's 3. That brings the sword out. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get the sword trigger this turn. So I messed up. I thought we had enough mana to do that. Fortunately, we don't. So what we will do is we will return to dust. We're going to return to dust the Sylvan Library and the Rhystic Study. Cut off 1 source of their card draw. We're going to pay 1 for the Rhystic Study. So Rhystic Study and Sylvan Library down. Noyan coming back into play. It's not the worst thing. Findorn Elves coming into play. Ooh, Windfall. That's really bad. And of course we draw into mana stuff, which we do not need. We have found all of the mana this game. Absolutely ridiculous. Seeds of Innocent. Destroy all artifacts. So we lost all of our artifacts. That's a pain in the butt. We draw a Blood Moon. Well, our opponent loses blue mana. If we're going to Blood Moon it up, cast the Mana Crypt, cast Blood Moon, cast our Akiri Lineslinger, currently a 2/3, play our Flagstones, and say go. So, Noyan coming at us. Nothing we can do at the moment. Down to 43. Luckily, we gained some life, so our life total is nice and high. Opponent finds a blue mana. Bummer. Still, they've only got 1 blue mana. Means they can't cast double blue, which is still good. Edric Spymaster coming back into play. Opponent's going to swing into the Noyan. Hopefully Noyan has some tricks. Opponent's going to Swords the Edric. Opponent taps out, it passes. We get a Mana Crypt trigger. We lost the flip. Draw a Fellwar Stone. About all that's going to do is pump up our Akiri Lineslinger. Play the Fellwar Stone. Recast Bruse Tarl. Throw the double strike on the Lineslinger. And let's go to combat. Edric opponent goes to 10 commander damage, 27 life, and we go up to 46. Opponent's going to exile the Blood Moon. I'm fine with that. Actually, I sort of think that's a misplay on their part because the Noyan opponent had plenty of basic lands out. They only have 2 non-basics, where the Edric opponent was locked much harder on color with the Blood Moon out. But it is just a scary card to have it sit there. So Noyan sends a 6/6 land at us and and his commander at the Edric opponent. We're going to take the 6 just because we've got life gain and we can't block it profitably. Plus, he probably has some tricks. So we'll just take the damage since we can gain life back pretty easily. So Edric down to 23. Sea Hunter coming into play. Has the ability to pay 3 and search your library for a merfolk and put it onto the battlefield. Seems pretty good. Whirlpool Rider. Shuffle the cards from your hand into your library, then draw that many cards. I would love an effect like that right now. We really need some card draw. Mana Crypt trigger. We won the flip. I'm going to crack the Windswept Heath during our upkeep just to try to thin our deck slightly more. And we draw a Sun Titan. That is beautiful. So cracking our fetch right there paid off very nicely. I really hope there's no counter spell. So play Sun Titan, get our Swiftfoot Boots, equip our Swiftfoot Boots, and opponent's going to respond. Opponent is going to Oblation our Swiftfoot Boots. There's worse things. Card draw is important. That will keep us from getting our sword back this turn. We draw a Champion's Helm. That's something. Ooh, that's a Ravages of War. That's the card we want. We just need to make sure all the counter spells are gone. We'll keep on hitting the Edric. We will double strike the Bruse Tarl since Akiri already has first strike. Gets rid of some double blocking situations. So opponent drops to 20, takes 3 commander damage. They're up to 13 commander now. Now we just try this Ravages of War. Please resolve. And it looks like it's going to resolve. Boom! There goes all the lands. Nice.
Kaboom!
So we still have our Darksteel Citadel because it's indestructible. And we're going to get a Flagstones trigger. Let's get a Sacred Foundry, play our planes, and pass the turn. Unfortunately, there's still a 9/9 in play. That's, ugh. So 9/9 coming in at us. We'll take, since again, we can still just keep gaining life back. Mana Vault for our opponent. And Edric scoops it up. Nice. So now we just got to deal with the Noyan opponent. We draw planes. Not exactly what we wanted, but it's what we got. Oh, we can get the Bastion Protector out of our graveyard. That's where we want to be. All right, so put the Champion's Helm there. Attack with everything. Get Bastion Protector out of the graveyard. Double strike our Sun Titan. And we just hit opponent for a whole bunch. We hit him for like 20. Nice. Play the planes. Signet for our opponent. That's not going to do it. Boom! There it is. Finally, had to wait for our opponent to time out. Boros, Akiri, Lineslinger, and Bruse Tarl getting there. So, at one point in the middle where I made the misplay with Aurelia, I almost shame scooped this game. I was so upset. I was so angry at myself. We were going to draw probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 cards off of that combat step, and missing that attack was huge. Also, we needed to put that damage on the Yidris just to kind of send the message that we weren't going to let them combo off. So I was hugely upset when I missed that play. But we were able to recover. We baited the Edric opponent into that nice Wrath of God, and that really kind of took the wind out of their sails. And then finally, we were able to really lock it out with Ravages of War. Anyway, let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. And of course, if you like this video, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.